Imagine a tiny piece of metal changing the fate of entire nations. Sounds impossible, right? But history is full of small inventions that completely changed the course of war. Tools so simple, yet so powerful. They turned the tide of battles, reshaped empires, and forever altered how humans fight. Welcome to our journey through time, where the smallest things made the biggest difference. Let's start with something you probably wouldn't think of as world-changing. The stirrup. Yeah, that little loop of metal hanging from a saddle. Before it existed, riding a horse into battle was risky business. You could easily fall off if you swung your sword too hard or got hit. But once someone in ancient China figured out the stirrup around the 4th century, everything changed. Suddenly, warriors could stand up, balance, and strike with full force. Imagine the power. Armies like the Mongols used this to dominate huge parts of Asia and Europe. With their incredible balance and speed, they became nearly unstoppable. One small invention, the stirrup, helped build one of the largest empires in human history. Now, let's jump to something a bit deadlier, the longbow. It looks simple, just a curved piece of wood with a string. But in the hands of skilled English archers, it became one of the most feared weapons of the Middle Ages. Picture the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. Thousands of French knights, heavily armored, charging across muddy fields. The English were outnumbered, tired, and sick. But their longbows rained arrows that pierced armor from hundreds of meters away. The battle ended in a shocking English victory. The longbow didn't just change who won battles, it changed warfare itself, proving that a common foot soldier with a simple weapon could defeat a noble knight. That tiny invention shifted power from the rich and elite to ordinary soldiers. Then came gunpowder. It's hard to imagine a world without it now, but when it first appeared, it was revolutionary. Discovered by Chinese alchemists who were actually trying to make an immortality potion, gunpowder was a total accident. But what an accident it was. When it reached Europe, it transformed everything. Castles that once seemed indestructible crumbled under cannon fire. Armies no longer needed knights in shining armor. Musketeers and cannons ruled the field. Even the way wars were fought changed forever. It's wild to think that a dusty black powder could rewrite the rules of combat. Here's something even smaller that had a massive impact: the rifled barrel. Early guns were smooth inside, so bullets flew in weird directions. But when someone realized you could carve spiral grooves inside the barrel, it made bullets spin, fly straighter, and hit harder. That small design tweak meant soldiers could shoot more accurately from much farther away. During the American Civil War, for instance, rifles with grooves turned every battlefield into a deadly long-range fight. A few inches of spiral metal changed the balance of power and made old tactics, like lining up in rows, completely useless. But we're not done with small surprises yet. Let's talk about the smokeless powder a cleaner, quieter cousin of gunpowder. Before it came along, old black powder made thick clouds of smoke with every shot. Soldiers couldn't see their targets, and the enemy could easily spot their position. Smokeless powder solved that. Suddenly, shooters could fire more shots, stay hidden, and breathe easier. It seems minor, but that invention made modern warfare faster, stealthier, and far deadlier. Now imagine being on a battlefield where every order counts, but you can't communicate. That's exactly what armies faced for centuries. Then came one of the smallest yet most powerful inventions of all, the radio. Just a few electrical signals flying invisibly through the air, but they revolutionized war strategy. In World War I and II, radios allowed generals to control troops in real time. Pilots could coordinate airstrikes, submarines could relay positions, and spies could send coded messages across continents. Before radios, warplanes could take days to deliver. After radios, they took seconds. Think about that. A few invisible waves could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Speaking of coded messages, that leads us to another small but game-changing invention, the cipher machine. Devices like the famous German Enigma machine in World War II added an entirely new battlefield, the War of Information. Messages were scrambled using complex patterns, and only someone with the right settings could read them. But when Allied code breakers cracked Enigma, it said they shortened the war by years and saved millions of lives. Tiny gears, switches, and wires. That's all it took to change history. Now, let's go to something even more personal. The humble *** first aid kit ***. It doesn't explode or fire bullets, but it's just as powerful in its own way. Before organized battlefield medicine, countless soldiers died from infections and wounds that today seem treatable. The invention of portable first aid and field hospitals during wars like the American Civil War and World War I saved millions of lives. It might not sound heroic, but clean bandages and disinfectant changed how humanity valued life during conflict. Sometimes, the most important inventions aren't the ones that kill, they're the ones that save. Let's not forget the helmet. Yes, the simple helmet. During World War I, soldiers learned the hard way that head injuries caused most battlefield deaths. So nations began developing steel helmets like the British Brodie helmet and the French Adrian helmet. A single piece of curved metal could mean life or death. Within months, the number of fatal injuries dropped dramatically. Think about it, one piece of shaped steel changed the statistics of war. And finally, here's one you've probably never thought about, the watch. Before wristwatches became common, soldiers used pocket watches, which were clumsy and hard to check during battle. When synchronized attacks became vital, especially during World War I, the wristwatch became standard issue. It led officers and troops' coordinate movements to the second, crucial for complex operations. That little invention didn't just tell time. It gave armies precision, discipline, and coordination like never before. What's truly fascinating is how these small things, a stirrup, a bow, a groove inside a barrel, or even a wristwatch, completely reshaped the course of history. They prove that war isn't only won by the biggest weapons or strongest soldiers, but often by the smartest ideas hidden in the smallest details. Every major shift in history, from horseback empires to digital warfare, started with an invention that someone, somewhere, thought was just a small improvement. So next time you look at something simple, like a tool, a gadget, or even a new app, remember, the smallest ideas can have the biggest impact. History teaches us that innovation doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the inventions that quietly changed the world. If you enjoyed learning about how small inventions changed the course of war, don't forget to hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Which invention surprised you the most? The stirrup, the radio, or maybe the watch? And of course, subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories about how little ideas made changes in our world. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring history's hidden details, because sometimes, the tiniest things create the greatest legends.